So I recently modeled this buckle in Blender, and it is a working buckle. So I printed it out as an STL, and it actually clicks and fastens, and it's pretty cool. So I figured I'd make a video just demonstrating how I made it, and maybe you guys can make one for yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna close out this for now, and we'll start with just a cube. So if you don't have a cube, go to Add Mesh Cube. And the first thing we need to do is to kind of scale it into shape. So I'm going to hit my scale tool on my keyboard, which I've made S on my keyboard the shortcut for, but you may not have that as your shortcut. And I have a video on how to do that if you so desire. But if you don't have shortcuts, you can always go on to the buttons here and it will help you switch tools. So right now I'm just going to scale it. I'm going to create the base, and before I do anything else, I'm going to need to add a image reference because that is always helpful. So here I have a buckle reference, and now I've got an image to go by. I'm going to, oopsie daisy, grab the wrong thing. I'm going to grab that image and I'm going to move it and rotate it so that it's right under my, I want it to be 90. 90 in my Z and 0, 0. Everything else, perfect. Okay, so I want it to be below my cube here. And just, I'm not going to copy this identically. I just wanted to use it to see how it works, essentially. So my version's a little different, but the main aspects are the same. When you build a buckle, you need these two outer hooks that are gonna snap outside of the female buckle. So this is the female and this is the male. And you also need this inside like strip here that kind of secures it in place. And very importantly, you need this little divot inside of that to also secure it in place. So now that I've got my cube, I'm going to this is fine for now. And, you know, this might come out a little different from the one I've already made because I'm going to go as fast as I can, but you can always make it prettier or change it up if you like. So here we are. I'm going to hit tab on my keyboard and I'm going to go into face mode. And this is the face I'm going to extrude out. But before I do that, I need to cut different edge loops so that I can extrude 3 of them out as faces. So let's see, how many edge loops will we need? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6. Let's see. So on my tools here, I've got loop cut. If I add my loop cut there and then scroll, you can add more loop cuts, but first you need to cut it in half. Now, let's see. Actually, let's just cut in halves. So I'm going to cut halves here. It's snapping immediately to the half mark here. And I'm going to cut that in half and that in half. Okay, now if I look at it, I've got some good things to work with. I'm going to switch to my move tool, and I'm going to grab, using Alt Select, these edges. And that grabs the whole edge. And I'm going to make sure symmetry's on my top right-hand corner. So I'm turning all of those on because for the most part, I need symmetry all over. If one doesn't work, I'll turn it off. So here we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. These are going to be these edges. I think I can make it a little thinner. Perfect. And now I'm switching to face mode. So face, I'm going to grab all the faces that I want to extrude. I'm going to shift grab them, shift select. And then once I have them, E on my keyboard, and that pushes them out. So you'll see how long you want it. This could be good. So then I just left clicked on my mouse, and I have cut my object in half for symmetry reasons. That's why this middle one has 2 faces at the end. That was intentional. And it looks like this one's a bit longer in my reference. I'm going to make that a little bit longer. That's like the anchor. Okay, cool. Next up is those little hooks. We need the hooks. So I'm going to cut on one side and then mirror after I have it the way I want it. Because if you make big changes like cutting or welding or beveling anything to the geometry, the symmetry isn't going to recognize that. You need to mirror using a modifier. So that's just something that's different in Maya, and I just wanted to point it out. Okay, so I'm going to go to loop cut. I'm going to add a loop cut and then hold down on my left mouse to kind of move it to where I want it. You can just pick wherever you want it here. And then back to face mode. Back to face mode, but I need to grab a different tool. Okay, and then I'm just going to extrude that face out. Perfect. Okay, now you can't have these go out too far. Otherwise, it's hard to get them back in. So I'm going to push it in a little bit, and I'm also going to scale it down a little bit to give it kind of some shape and make it more malleable and kind of make it like that, kind of looking like downward. There we go. Another thing that I want to do is I want to make these a little bit longer, I've decided, because they're easier to bend if they're longer and easier to bend if they're thinner too. And I'm contemplating if I should make them thinner. No, I'm just going to make them longer for now. So I'm going into this mode here up on the top. No, not that one. Silly me. Actually, yes, that one. But I want to change to vertex mode. So you're going to go to this viewport shading method and vertex so I can see what I'm grabbing, and I'll draw, just rectangle select. And now I can see everything that's grabbed and I can move them all at once. Otherwise, I'll move some, but I won't move the ones behind them. So that's kind of good to know. All right, now we're cooking. Okay, another thing I really want to do here is I've decided I do want to make this a little thinner. This I wish I knew the parts names. This little hook, I guess, the rim around it, because if it's thinner, it will be able to be squeezed in easier. So I'm just alt selecting all those faces, and then now if I do that, I have to scale it out a little. And as you can see, that changed this here. So I'm going to undo. I'm going to have to add an edge loop in order to keep things on the up and up. So back to my loop cut. I'm going to go over here, add an edge loop right in there. I'm going to add another one up here just for good measure. And now I'm going to go back to face mode and back to move tool. And then I'm going to alt select this whole group here. And now I'm going to scale them all down, grabbing that. Perfect, much better. That's a little too much even, so, and then maybe push them out. Good. Good. I kind of want the base here to go upwards a little bit more, up the side. So I'm going to go back to edge mode. You're constantly going to be switching from edge mode to face mode to vertex mode when you're modeling. So that's just something that's inescapable, but you will get used to it. And you're always going to be alt selecting different things to get the whole edge, because working in edges is very common and it's just a clean way to work. Okay, so I'm switching back to face. This is just me kind of quickly, oops, I accidentally extruded. Don't want to do that. Now I'm going to scale this down a little bit. I want to grab both faces. I'm scaling it down because I want it to be a little thinner. I want it to be a little thinner, just movable, you know? Okay, cool. And while I'm at it, I want to move maybe this edge loop too. It's a lot of trial and error, and I have to be honest, I did print out a couple versions before I got my version the way I wanted, and I'll show you at the end here. Okay, cool. Not bad. So that's so far so good. We have to create this middle area though. This is something I found very helpful, and I made my middle go all the way to the end. And the reason for that is I created an inner kind of fitting that it just slides into, and it holds it into place in the female version of the buckle. So that, I'm not sure how this exact one works because I can't see the middle of this one, but this little gully or whatever it's called is kind of important. So now I'm going to grab faces. I'm going to grab this face and this face. And I'm going to extrude. I'm trying to decide if I want to extrude here as well, and I think so. And then I will just mirror it onto the bottom later. So I'm going to click E on my keyboard, and that is not correct. I don't want to extrude. I'm still in Maya brain. So what I want to do is inset faces, and that gives me this vibe. I lost something here, so let's try that again. Inset faces, perfect. Okay. Perfect. And now, while I look at this, I'm realizing that I don't have a middle edge loop, and I'll need that here just so I can mirror to the bottom. So I just did that quickly. And now I'm going to go back to grabbing faces. I'm going to grab this face and this face. I don't know if I can do this, so bear with me. I'm going to click E. I can't remember. Okay. I was able to extrude inwardly. And if I'm ever like doubting myself, it's because I'm used to Maya. And sometimes things can be a little different. And I have a lot of videos on transitioning between Maya and Blender. So if you're like me and you're making a transition and you need help with certain things that are different between the two, definitely check out my playlist for that, which I will link a video to at the end of this. Okay. And this will be in that playlist as well. Okay. Looking good. That is basically what I'm looking for. Everything is going well. So now we're going to do that mirror that I was talking about. Let's go to modifiers here. It's that little wrench. And then we're going to click mirror. Already you can see what that's doing. It's mirrored the x-axis, but this is not it. We can't just leave it like that because right now we've got double faces happening. You can't see them, but if you start working on this, you will see a lot of it. So you need to bisect, and that will mirror one end to the other. And if you're not seeing it get mirrored, you got to flip it. But right now you see it's flipping the wrong way, so I don't want to flip it. And also I need to mirror it from top to bottom. So that's, I think, the Z-plane here. I needed to flip it because that made it work. And, oh, I didn't need to flip it. I needed to bisect it. And I also need to flip it. No, do I? I can't see. No, it's good. It's reflecting the top on the bottom. Perfect. Okay, so once you do that, you can apply it. Sorry, my chair is squeaking. Okay. So click that downward arrow and you'll see it's gray. And that's because I'm not in object mode. So I just hit tab and apply. Cool. Wow. All right. So back into edit mode. I am looking at my buckle. It's looking okay. But we need that female version of the buckle. And how do we get a matching version for the female? Well, it is not too difficult. I'm going to use what I already have. So if I go back into object mode, and I'm just going to quickly save and pause. I'm going to make sure that my object is zeroed out in all of its transforms. So its scale is not. So to make sure that its transforms are set, I go to Object, Apply, and I'm going to apply scale. And that way everything is easy to get back to if I change anything. And now, with that in mind, I'm going to copy and paste and or duplicate. I'm not sure. Let me see. Control C, Control copy objects, Control V, paste. Ooh, I made a bunch. Okay, great. See, that is something different. I'm used to Control D in Maya. Okay, that's all we have. Perfect. So I wanted this other version because I'm going to delete a lot of it and keep some of it to make that female version of the buckle. So what do I need to delete? Well, let's take a look in edit mode. I can delete all of this area here. I just kind of want this middle spot. And to get a nice clean cut, I can just go back to my loop cut tool and cut. Oh, leave that there because you always want that middle piece for mirroring. I'm going to insert the edge loop and hold down the left click as I slide it into place. And now I can go back into my edit mode faces and alt click. Oh, and I'm not getting the loop that I want. So I'm going to control click a line of them at a time. So if I click one and then down the line, click another while holding control, I get more than one at a time. And then once I have that, I'm going to delete faces. So I push delete on my keyboard. And now I have that. So this is close to what I want. I want to delete everything else though. So I'm going to go into, let's see, there we go. Push 3 in your number pad and you should see your side view perfectly. And now I'm going to see through my object here, select it all and delete faces. Okay, now if I go back into my normal shading, I can see what I've got. I also want to delete, you know what, do I may just want to flip this. I want to rotate entirely because I do want these ends to be attached and I want the other side to be open. So I think what we need to do here is go into object mode and rotate our object. So let's see, if I hit my rotation key and rotate, I'm seeing it's the x-axis and it's got to be at -180. And there we go. Okay, cool. So we've got it facing the right way, something like a cap anyway. And I'm just going to slide it into place to see how it looks. Pretty good. Everything seems to fit. It does need to be scaled maybe a little bit. So I'll do that. Just scaling it so that we've got some room. And maybe scaling, I can leave everything else. Maybe scale it inwards just a little over here. Maybe not, maybe a little, I don't know. That's just, it is what it is. But we will definitely need to scale it in this direction. So let's make it longer. And perfect. Okay, not bad. One more very key essential part is in edit mode, we need to cut edge loops to open up this area for the little latches. And I'm going to put another one there and I'm going to put an edge loop here because this is kind of a key spot. And for now, that's good. Now I'm going to delete some faces. Remember, I only need to do this on one side because I can mirror it. So I grabbed a couple with shift and delete faces. There we go. You'll notice that most of these female parts are curved in the inside. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to add an edge loop there and there, and I'm going to scale that. And I found from personal experience that the more you can grab, the better. So I'm gonna grab this whole edge here and move it up. The more you can grab, meaning if you can get a better grip on this part. And you know, with that in mind, I'm gonna add another edge loop and scale that one too. So, oops, I just accidentally extruded. I'm always hitting E on my keyboard. Okay. Yeah, so that'll give your finger a lot of space to push that in. And that was something that took me a minute to figure out was helpful. Grab these two. Not bad. The more space, the better for those fingers. I'm kind of overlapping here, so I'm going to turn on my soft select, which is this button here. And that gives you a circumference. That gray round thing is the circumference of things that are being affected by what you're doing. And that's a kind of not the worst size for this. So I'll keep that about there. And let's move it down just a little. No, I'm not going to move it down just a little. I'm going to just turn that off and select the whole thing and do that. So I'm just going to control shift, I should say. Nope. Control select. I'm just grabbing everything, even though I could be mirroring this later. Kind of helps me to visualize it. Scale it down and then move it. Perfect. Cool, cool. Okay, we've got the edges sticking out. But one thing that you'll notice is the edge really needs to tuck in. So this bottom edge here, it needs to tuck in a bit more so that it catches. That's kind of essential. So I just moved that inward a bit. And to back it up, I moved this inward. You'll find that when you print this out on your 3D printer, you may need to reprint it with these moved outwards or inwards, depending on how loose and or not loose your buckle ends up being. That was the main change I needed to make. It was really the only change that I probably will ever have to make again, knowing how to make this, is that sometimes these just don't line up right. And that's fine because it's easy to fix. Okay. So we've got that on the buckle. I think we should bring everything in a little bit on this area. So let's just go back to faces, Alt select, and Alt select. Well, I guess. I'm control selecting. Okay. Scale. See where my scale is here. I actually found the curve here to be kind of helpful. If there was like a, you know what will help me a lot? Another edge loop, one right here. And then that one, if I always hit E instead of S. S. Scale that out. Maybe if I turn soft select on. Okay, that's cool. Awesome. Okay, so that's that. But you'll ask me, Ayla, this is not thick. This is going to print out terribly because if I go into object mode and it's very thin, and that's just not going to do. Well, you're right. That is too thin. We need to add a modifier. So over here on my modifiers, I'm going to go to a little thing called solidify. And then we're going to make the thickness in the negative so it goes outward. But not too thick. I mean, not obscene. Let's get like thick enough that it's strong, but not too thick that it is unusable. And I did a negative 0.5 millimeters. Let's go with negative 0.7 for now. And you can always change that. Okay, so it's negative 0.7 and everything is now thick, which is good. So there's only a couple more steps to make here. We've got to make that inside piece. Before I do anything else, since I like the place of this, I'm going to go to Object, Apply, All Transforms. So we can just get back to it if we need to. So we need to build that inside connection that's going to scoop into that middle bar of the buckle. So now I go into object mode and make sure the female part is selected, and then I go into edit mode to grab the faces. But what's going on? I can't see what I'm grabbing. That's so weird. Well, that's because we haven't applied the modifier yet. So we've added that solidify modifier, but it hasn't been applied, so it's not official. Let's go back to object mode, then go into your modifiers and select, select apply. And now that we've done that, I can go back into edit mode and I can see what I'm doing, which is exactly what I wanted. So let's grab our entire object. Let's move it up. And we'll see what we need to do. Okay, so we're gonna need, in edit mode, to create kind of something that sticks out and will fit into that edge. And since our lines are not straight, that's going to be a little bit tricky. So I want my lines to be straight. So I'm going to just make sure I'm in edge mode and Alt select 1. And now if I go into my scale tool and kind of scale that from one angle, look at that, it moves. Now to snap this into a straight line, you hit 0 on your number pad, and that gets exactly what you want, the result you want. Same thing here, Alt select this whole thing, move it with 0 selected, much better, okay. But measurement wise, we need to make sure that it'll fit. So I'm just gonna tab and bring it down now. Let's see, if I make it 0, it will fit right into place. And I'm just gonna visually do it here, see what we've got here. Okay, I wanna see my my wireframe. So I could hit that, but what I really wanna do is hit this drop down here, my overlays, and then select wireframe. Now I'm gonna constantly see my wireframe so I can see my lines. I want to move these in a little bit so that it's more narrow, because I don't think it's gonna fit. So in edit mode, if I get my edges, I'm just Alt selecting. Now I'm gonna move it. It looks like there's some sort of lack of symmetry happening, which will be easy to fix. I'll just mirror this again, so I don't need to stress about that. And yeah, this is going well. I think here it should fit pretty good, about that size. However, I will need to move this inset a little bit. So that's fine. I'm gonna apply mirror again. I'm always applying mirror. It's something I do constantly, so bear with me. Here we go, add modifier, mirror. I definitely want it to look like that, not the flipped version. And then if I'm in object mode, I can apply, and that's better. Okay, now I'm gonna move my object up a little bit. And I need to extrude some faces to create that connection area. So I'm going to grab faces. I'm going to go all the way down the line here. I'm just shift selecting. Oh gosh, I'm getting crazy. Shift select, shift select, shift select, and I'm trying to decide if I want that end piece. Yes, I'll do the end piece. All right, so now I'm gonna extrude, and it can't be too big because it has to fit. So I think that's okay. That may be a little too big. And now I'm gonna scale it down lengthwise just a touch, because otherwise these two faces in the back are gonna be touching. And also that will make the faces in the front easier to slide on. Cool. Okay, we're in the upper view here. Another thing I want to do is I want to move these back, these faces on the male part. So I'm just tab selecting, and then gonna grab some faces, and I'm going to make sure soft select is on for this. I think will be good. Too big, make it smaller. When you're holding down your left mouse, use your scroll button and you can change the size of influence here. This is kind of useful because it's just gonna help me fit one into the other. And I think now they will fit. Yeah, that looks about right. And we can see for sure if we just zero out the location. Looking good. Looks like I could even make this go in a little bit more. Perfect. Let's do that. W. or I made my keyboard shortcut the same as Maya for my move tools and stuff. Almost all the same. Some are a little bit different, but actually I'm not going to make these longer because you get the gist, but I could make it a little deeper if it fits. What else do we need to do here? It's looking pretty good. I have some more mirroring to do because the top has the gully and the whatever you call this. I keep calling it new things that I just make up. The top has this and the bottom needs it too. And also here, the bottom needs to match. Actually, it does. It looks like it had mirror on, so it's good. But my mirror backfired over here because I shouldn't have had it on because I wanted the end to be flat. So how do I fix that? I just go into edit mode, grab some more faces. I'm just going to control select, and then scale. And like I did before, no good. And I do not want symmetry on my Y. So I turned it off and I hit 0 on my numpad and there we are. Perfect. Okay, so what else does my little buckle need? It needs something to connect to whatever leather or whatever the heck you're connecting to it. What is that called again? String? No. You need these little grooves. So let's do that. And doing that won't be too hard for this area. We've already got our base. We just need to cut out some things. So I'm going to grab my loop cut and I'm going to start cutting away. I guess we'll need one here, one here, one here, and one here. Okay, I'm going to move them around, but that's good enough for now. I make sure I'm in edge mode and I've got my select tool here and I'm going to alt select some of these and I'm going to do that trick I showed you where I scale things into straightness and click 0 on my numpad in order to just automatically, oopsies. Well, I clicked something else by accident. Oh my goodness. Okay, alt and 0. Alt and A, so close. You got to start scaling it before you hit 0. Fun fact. And then something influenced this, which I'm not loving. And then same thing here. Okay. So I do want to move this one with alt select. Nope. I want to just move it in a little. Okay. And our gap areas will be here and here. So I'm going to start deleting faces. Go into face mode, grab a bunch of faces, and I'm just shift selecting all these faces. I can do it on the bottom. Our reference is getting in the way. Delete faces. Okay, so now I want to connect my edges, which shouldn't be too hard either. I'm get back in edge mode and there's a little trick. So I'm going to just control select the lines that I want. Oh, can't control select all my lines. Got to shift select my, nope. I'm, like I said, getting used to the interface. No, okay, that's not happening. So I'm just going to shift select. I'm trying to, girl, I won't give up. I won't. I'll just shift select. And then there's a trick, control E and bridge edge loops. Control E, bridge edge loops. If you grab two edges that you want connected, you just need to bridge those edges. So I'm going to do that for all of these. I can shift select them all at once, I think. Yeah. Okay. I'm telling you, if you are used to Maya, it can be a little hard to break your habit, but there are things I really like about Blender. And as I use it more, I definitely grow to like it even more. So I'm excited to see all the new stuff I can make. Oh. Grab that, I'm grabbing something. Something is odd. Something is off and I need to figure it out. So back to face mode, I'm going to delete this face. I'm not sure. What is this? Delete. Oh, delete edges. Okay, I think there might have been some extra edges. Delete edges. And there's cleanup you can do to find these later on, so I'm not going to, beat myself up about rogue edges because Blender makes that easy. Bridging these edge loops. And finally, cool. And then I'm probably going to fast forward for you guys, but I'm going to do the same thing here with all of these. Okay, donezo. I'm liking things. I am realizing that I'd like maybe this one to be a little bit thinner, maybe. So I'm going to go with faces. Grab these faces. Grab these faces again. Make sure the whole edge is connected. Kind of bring it in a bit. I don't hate that. And then I'm going to grab the edges as well. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to do the same thing here. Perfect. Not too thin. And then I just have to kind of flatten that out too. I'm going to hit 0 and then just move it into place to be aligned. Perfect. Same here. Alt select, scale, 0, move, line it up. Perfect. Nice. And also let's make this a little thicker so it's solid. Back here. I'm always doing my Maya shortcuts. It's wild. On my keyboard. Okay, cool. Now we've got to do some work on that female. I think the male is pretty much done. So aside from subdividing, it's looking great. You may want to add some edge loops towards the corners and stuff for subdividing, but we can do that at the end. Okay, so now we need to go into object mode here, and we're gonna just do some mirroring like we were before. Back to our favorite modifier, mirror. Not X this time, but Z. Perfect. Bisect, and it's doing the right one, so we don't even need to hit anything else. Just apply, and love it. Okay, so now let's see. How many faces do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Amazing. Okay, I have a trick, and I'm excited to share it. But first, let's flatten out this edge. So back in edit mode, faces. Okay, I always hit the wrong thing. I hit shift. Okay, scale. There we go. And with that done, I'm just going to delete those faces, right? I've got an empty top, and I'm going to do my little trick again where I object mode, select this, copy, V, paste, and I'm going to rotate it. So I got to go back into this area, and I'm just going to do my rotate and see how it goes. Why is it not showing me it being rotated? I do not know. Ah, there it is. Okay, -180. Good. Moving it. Now it will connect here, so I can get the exact same little buckle area as that. All I have to do is delete some things, add some things, and it will work. So back into edit mode, I'm going to grab this cut tool, cut there, do my favorite thing ever, which is to scale into a straight line. And I'm wondering why it's affecting the inside. It's because soft select is on. I don't want soft select on. 0, perfect. And now I go into my side view, 3 on the numpad, and also this view, and I can select everything before that area, delete faces. I think I'm missing some things here. Yeah. So let me get those. These, why is it not grabbing it? Oh, because I'm not in face mode. Duh. Okay. Delete faces. And we've got a couple stray faces. That's okay. We can get them. Oh, I cannot stop using my Maya hands. Perfect. Now back to shaded mode. We can bridge these two objects. All we need to do is combine them first. Join them. And once we join them, they're going to be bridgeable. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So if I shift select both objects and then hit Control J, that makes them into one object, which is what we need to do in order to combine them, or connect them rather. So now I can go back into edit mode, grab my edges. I can, I think Alt one more time. Let's try that again. Yep, grabbed everything. Then Shift Alt, yes. And then that little Control E situation where we bridge edge loops, and look at that. How cool is that, guys? I'm gonna smooth this section out a bit, I think. Let's do that super duper quick. Grab these faces. Grab these. I don't know why I'm not grabbing all my faces. Somebody tell me why. Oh, because it's edge mode every time, guys. I tell you. Okay. There we go. I'm going to move it out just a little because I want the look to be a little more of a smooth transition there. Amazing. So this is what I was looking for. Now we have buckles on both sides and this fits together. We can do a lot of cosmetic changes here, but this is the base of what we need. And if I go into object mode, I can bring it down into its old location and go into here and make sure it's all lined up. Cool. Something I like to do personally is subdivide. So if I want to subdivide this here, I always make backup copies. So I'm going to copy and paste these as my backups because you never want to lose something that you think is good. And then I can do some quick changes here. So I'm going to edit mode, add in some edge loops where I think it needs it in order for me to subdivide this properly. So there, maybe up here, definitely here, definitely here, definitely here. No, that was on purpose. Okay, since I didn't add, nope, I got edge loops everywhere. I think that looks fine. Oh, but definitely I'm going to need them here in the inside to make these smooth. Edge loops are vital. But you don't want to go overboard because you don't want to have your mesh be too high poly. It's kind of like a balancing act, if you will. Okay, I'm going to add a subdivision to this to see what it looks like. Object, modifier, subdivision surface. Ooh, love it. Very cool. And you can change the levels in the viewport. I don't need it to be too high. And then the render. And then if I wanted to print it out like this, I would apply that. So let's do it. So that's really what the polys look like at the end of the day. Sometimes you don't even need it to be smooth, but you know, it's cool to try. I'm actually not going to apply this because I want to see our original geometry there. But one thing to note is if you have subdivision surface on, you can edit and you can see kind of things change in real time. So if I want to like see what this will do, it'll change the geometry. That wasn't a great example, but it'll kind of like move it. Yeah, you can see what it's doing. So let's do that to the bottom. I'm gonna add, I'll add that subdivision first, and I will start adding edge loops. See how like funky it looks? And actually, before I do that, object mode, I'm gonna hit the what's it called? Dash key? What's it called? Oh gosh, I've got nothing. Hit the slash key on your keyboard and it will isolate the object so you can see what you're doing. And then you can start adding in your edge loops. And this is what I was talking about. This is when you can see what the edge loops are doing in real time, and it's kind of like good to see. We definitely want, so I'm just going to take that off for now because it's distracting me, but yeah, you get the idea. We definitely need edge loops anywhere where you want a hard edge. So I'm actually going to just do this side for now, and then oh, this needs to be hard edges. Do a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the inside. I'll be mirroring this most definitely. What? Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to mirror one side to the other because I know I didn't add edge loops properly. Sure, whatever. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Apply. Okay, cool. And if we add that subdivision again, you're kind of seeing what it looks like. This area is giving me issues. I'm not loving whatever I'm seeing here, so I think we need another edge loop. When in doubt, edge loop it out. Yeah, that looks way better. I'm seeing some geometry I'm not loving over here, and that can be cleaned up without too much trouble. Yeah, look at that. This didn't merge together. So I am going to clean that up really quick too, because why not, you know? This happens. You know what? I don't know if I have to. I can just mirror. What I'm going to do is grab this edge loop that goes all the way around and flatten it like I did before. So here, I'm going to just alt grab. Oh, it doesn't connect here. I think this might work. Alt grabbing it and then scaling it. I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna delete all the bottom faces so that I can really focus on this. So hit 3 on my keyboard, see through my image, grab faces, delete faces. Oh, 3 again because I didn't get everything somehow. Delete. Try that again. Faces. Okay. Now let's see what we got. There's something going on right in that area, and I want to figure it out. Okay. Ah, there's this stray thing happening here. So if I delete that, faces, delete this, faces. Okay, now if I go back into edges, alt select all of this and this. Shift select these bad boys. Okay, we're getting them involved. They don't want to be part of the party, but they're gonna be. Here's an issue. I figured it out. There's an extra 1, 2. This is not a quad. That's it. Okay. Delete this. Delete this. Nice. Okay, we see there's an issue. So I'm gonna go back into my edge mode, close out these edges by just grabbing them, bridging them. Okay, and I'm gonna mirror a bunch of shizness. I'm gonna mirror this whole thing. So object mode, add modifier, mirror again. That's closing it out perfectly. And I also need the Z to be mirrored. That wasn't flat. I'm going to make it as close as possible, and then I'm going to make the merge distance maybe like 0.3. And then get into object mode and apply. Perfect. And let's do our little subdivision surface and see what that does now. Nice. Okay, closed it up. That's exactly what I wanted it to look like. So here we have our male part of the buckle looking good. We can print out these objects, so I'm going to do that. Should I apply this modifier? Object. Yeah, let's just freaking apply. Okay, now if I hit the slash key on my computer and I can apply this one, there we go. We've got 2 pieces. I am feeling like maybe these are a little too big. So right before I do it, I'm just going to do one final thing. I'm going to edit while I'm looking at them here. I push 7 on my keyboard to see, and then I want to see through, and I want to move these in. Nope. I want to move them in with a little help. I need a little more help than that. Amazing. There we go. I think that should do it. Okay, let's take a peek. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I'm very excited. Oh, and we can't forget, we have to export. So while in object mode, I click on my individual objects and I'm going to go to File, Export, STL. Okay, and then we're going to name them. So I think I had the male one selected. Yes, I did. Let's go with male. And when you're exporting, make sure you have selection only selected in this case, because I just want the one, I don't want them both to be exported out because I'm going to need to print them kind of separately. I can print them on the same plate, but I kind of have to move them around. So also you might want to check your scaling. However, in my Bambu Studio, I can change my scaling there, so I'm not going to worry about that now. But if you wanted to, you could measure it out in real form here and kind of figure out how big you want things to be. Obviously, I don't want this to be 6 meters long, if that's what that is, but it'll be okay. I can fix that later. And then here, File, Export, STL, Female. Selection only stays selected while you're still in your scene. And there you go. File, save. So please join me for more tutorials. I love modeling. I love 3D printing. I love animation. And I love video editing. So thanks, and I'll see you soon.